to another Gathering Update Zoom as we help you prepare for the 2025 LCMS Youth Gathering in New Orleans. We'll be walking alongside you guys as you prepare your group to attend Endure just next summer. As a reminder, we're going to be hosting these Gathering Update Zooms leading up to the gathering on the second Thursday of each month. Each Zoom will consist of 30 minutes of information, and then we'll take a short break, and then we'll have 30 minutes of office hours where you guys can ask all of your gathering questions that maybe don't pertain to the topic that we're talking about this evening. In case you have to miss one of our Zooms, or you want to share it with another adult leader in your group, we do record all of the Zooms and we upload them to our Gathering YouTube channel. You'll get a Gathering Update email, and it'll be in that LCMS Youth Ministry Facebook group at the next day after the recording is finished. My name is Meredith Smith. I'm here with DCE Juliana Schultz once again. And tonight we're going to be talking about a number of items, including national, things about New Orleans travel tips, and what's next in gathering planning. So first and foremost, we are excited to share some highlights about the National Lutheran Youth Workers Conference that's happening in New Orleans in just a few short weeks. We have it's not even a couple weeks, it's very soon.
It's soon. Yeah.
We have over 500 adult leaders and over 60 youth that are traveling in New Orleans to learn, connect with other youth workers and us as a staff. We're always so excited to meet you guys in person and not just see you on Zoom. If you're one of those adult leaders that are attending the conference, we want to take a few moments out of tonight's update Zoom to give you some of those last minute tips before you pack your bags and head to New Orleans. So if you're attending National, we've sent a couple of email communications to your inbox to help us best prepare for your time in New Orleans. So please make sure that you're checking your email, your junk, your spam, that wherever it might go, for some of that important communication that's coming up, including there was a form to let us know about your food allergies and some rideshare opportunities that we could connect you with some other adult leaders. It's a good way to meet people, sitting together in an Uber.
Absolutely.
So, and there's also some interest in transportation to worship on Sunday for those of you who are getting into town early. So we'll go ahead and put that, if you're going to National, please, if you're not going to National, don't fill out the form that I'm about to put in the chat. But this just helps us out a little bit. And if you've already filled out the form, you've got the communication, there's no need to refill it out. That means we got it, and we're going to work to get those accommodations for you guys.
Yeah, it is really exciting to see all the different pieces of National come together. If you're going to be there on Sunday morning, which I know some of you are coming in a little early to enjoy a little bit of New Orleans flavor before the event, we have some opportunities to attend some local congregations for worship, which is really cool.
Yes.
Some fantastic thing. We are also really excited, as Meredith said, we have 60 teens, high school teens who are going to be there for the youth league portion of National, which is a fantastic opportunity. And so we're really excited to take those young people and give them a chance to orient to the city so they can help lead their groups to the 25 gathering, but also to gain some skill development. They're going to do a service project, all sorts of really cool things. So if you are an adult who's bringing a teen to that youth lead track, you should have gotten several emails from me. If you've not, please let us know so that we can give you that specific communication regarding all the things that those teens are going to be doing during the conference. And as we mentioned, every update, we always are updating the website, right? So there's always new things. And this time particularly, if you haven't checked lately, the national site, the national part of our site, looks very different.
Yes.
Looks amazing. It's got a bit of an upgrade, right? Because you're going to find there the conference schedule, city maps, speaker bios, session descriptions, all the different conference updates and announcements. We went this direction rather than maybe like an app that you needed to download, but all of that information is going to be there on the website for you to be looking at for our time together in New Orleans. So you can start planning the sessions you want to attend, looking at kind of the different opportunities that are going to be, planning out when you're going to be able to sneak out for your beignets or your snowballs or all of those good things. We're also going to have some great time together on the Natchez cruise boat.
Yes.
Courtesy of LCF, so we're really grateful for that as well.
And it's also worth noting that this site is going to be used during the conference. So if there are any updates to the schedule or announcements that we need to make conference-wide, we'll be updating the site with all that information. So that might be another reason that you want to bookmark it or favorite it, add it to your reading list on your phone, and just make sure you check it out before you head to New Orleans.
All right. And then along with national registration, people are going to get a 7 Practices of Healthy Youth Ministry book. Maybe you've heard us talk about this. If you've been to like literally a bunch of the updates have talked about this. But Mark Kiesling and I worked together to write a book called The 7 Practices of Healthy Youth Ministry. We're going to be talking about some of that content there at National. We're going to have some amazing breakout speakers who are going to be bringing out some of the different themes of those 7 practices for you to be thinking about. And so we're going to give you a free copy. If you're not going to be at National or you want more copies, you can purchase those through CPH. So you can follow that QR code to be able to look for that as well.
I also think CPH is going to be at National.
They are. And you're going to be able to shop the Gathering store.
Yes. So if you've been following on Gathering social media, which I hope all of you guys are, you might have noticed that we launched the first couple items of the 2025 Gathering store. You can obviously shop online anytime, but for our national participants, we've been working with CPH, and they have made it an option for you to order your stuff online through the Gathering store and pick up on site in New Orleans. If that's just something that you want to pick up for yourself, or if you want to pick up something for your group, know that that's an option, but you do have to put your order in by Monday, July 15th. So that's actually this Monday. So if you haven't checked it out, we'll put the link to the Gathering store. And again, you might want to bookmark this because I think there's some pretty cool stuff that's going to come out leading up to the Gathering.
Yeah, I'm already excited about things that we've got.
I'm already wearing a shirt.
Socks, hats.
Yes.
Stickers. There's so much cool stuff that you can do that. So we are just really excited for you guys to be able to join us there in New Orleans, right? And so we want you to feel equipped to navigate the city, right?
Yes. That
is one of the big things we did, right? So we uploaded a new adult leader resource with the idea that you're going to be able to both to National and to the Gathering to travel and serve well in New Orleans, right? I don't know if people have been to New Orleans. I'm sure there are plenty of people in the chat who have been to New Orleans, who have favorite things about traveling to New Orleans, but some of you maybe have never been to the city before. And so it can be a little daunting to travel really anywhere, right?
Yeah.
So we recognize that while as a staff, maybe we travel quite a bit, right? Not everybody does travel often. And even if you do travel often, sometimes you're not traveling with a group or not traveling with to an event of this size, right? And so if you are a frequent traveler, some of the information that you're going to get here is going to be something that you know, right? Something that you experience, right? You kind of know some of these things, but then there's going to be some of those things that's going to be helpful specifically about New Orleans if you haven't been there recently, or if you've never been there at all. It's also a good thing just to go through with other adults and with your teens, because some of those teens haven't traveled, particularly haven't traveled by themselves. So covering things that are common courtesy on things like public transportation and tipping and those kinds of things can be really helpful for your group.
Yeah, I'm always amazed every gathering. There's a group of people that have young people in their group that have never even left their hometown.
Right, they've never seen anything. So just to kind of get you guys involved in this, as we're going to review just a little bit of what you're going to find in this resource. But as we do, please drop in the comments, what are some of the tips and tricks for traveling at the gathering that you have, right? So if you have any like things that you do every time that work really well, or things that you teach your young people, so like what are your tips and tricks for traveling to and from the gathering? And Bill's jumping in there right away with drink water, which is especially true in New Orleans, right? To be able to do that. I see Nicole saying mass group texting, right? So having a way to text all of your kids at the same time to try and make sure that everybody has the right instructions,
Yes,
right? Taking breaks from the heat,
yes.
right?
They know how to do one thing in New Orleans. It's run the AC.
Oh, they do. They do. So you're gonna go back and forth between just absolutely drenched in sweat
Yes.
and also frozen solid in that AC.
Which is why we sell hoodies in the gathering store.
That's
People
true.
always
That's
wonder,
true.
why are you selling
Why
long
are you
sleeves?
doing it? And that is because people will go back to cool weather. So really, Meredith, what are some things that you might say about that you took away from this resource?
Yeah, so group travel is just like the first step of your gathering experience, and it really sets the tone for your group. Your arrival, it sets the tone for your arrival in New Orleans. So I really appreciated the things to do and then the things to not do when traveling. You don't walk on the sidewalk in a horizontal line. You walk like ducks.
Everybody, right? Yeah.
So it's just a lot of great things in the resource about what to include in your packing list in preparing your youth and adults to travel to the gathering. It's just one less thing that you have to think about if you're looking at this resource. It's also really great for those of you who are attending National in a few weeks. One reason we have National in the host city is that so adult leaders like yourselves can become comfortable with the city, get a lay of the land, like you said, try out the public transportation and see what that would look like for your group. One of the items we anticipate many adult leaders are going to inquire about is how to handle Bourbon Street with your youth and adults that are attending the gathering. This resource also gives you the options on how you might talk about Bourbon Street with your youth and adults. So we just want to really, really make sure we recognize that the facility that's being used for National is going to be the closest to Bourbon Street that any kind of gathering programming is going to happen, will take place.
Yeah.
So during the days of the gathering, programming is only going to take place at the Superdome and at the Convention Center. And then if you're off-site, there will be some city locations that you'll be serving at around the city. So in most of our gathering hotels, we were just looking at the map today, are closer to the Convention Center and right up along going on the way to the stadium. So definitely want to take a moment before you head to National, read through that resource and look at some of the options that we've given you guys to how to conduct and talk about Bourbon Street with your young people and make a decision with your adult leaders and maybe even your church leadership about how you want to handle that with your group. Surely you don't have to go at all. Like there's no need to go.
Yeah.
But we want to prepare you guys for those questions that we know parents and other adults might be asking.
Yeah. Great. I'm going to tap in here really quickly because some chats has some great check-in notes. So I'm seeing people like talking about bright hats and signs and check-in times, right? Having those times where they're going to be able to like, hey, make sure that you're checking in with everybody, that you know where folks are at. And it also is a time to kind of briefly debrief what's happening around in the gathering, right? I love this. Call a person if a person's lost. Okay, so your lock screen. Meredith even put together a lock screen where you can put your adult leader on that so that we can be able to find those things. We love that. So we know that gathering, we're definitely going to encourage anyone attending National to read this resource. It can be helpful for you before you even get to National. So if you have some time, print it off, read it on the plane, all of those things. So you're going to be able to, again, take a chance to kind of look at what we said. Maybe you're going to have a chance to walk from our hotel down to the riverboat, which might take you to some places where you can be thinking about how you might, like you said, navigate Bourbon Street with your group. But also, weather, right?
Yes.
How much you're going to need to be, I just saw somebody say comfortable shoes, right? Make sure that you are doing all the things that you need and you can practice how much you're going to need to walk and to do water and all of those things.
You might even get to experience the afternoon rain shower.
We'll have a chance in the mornings, both of those nights, to do some walks to the different locations where we're going to have programming, so to the Superdome and the Convention Center. But you'll also just generally be able to learn some walking routes around the area to get orientated, to kind of where to expect things to be. And we're in a hotel that's right next to the trolley car line, right? And so that's something that you can try out. You can use that trolley to be able to go around. It's a really cool little thing to
Yeah,
do.
it's
Some
fun.
public transportation to get from here to there. And so that's something that you can practice before you bring an entire group of teenagers who are like, wait, what's a trolley and how do I do this, right? So for you to be able to do those things. So lots of great resources that are helpful both for you at national and in general as you're traveling with your youth group.
Yeah, and there's a ton of information at the end of the resource that are they're really helpful for even me just traveling about how we can go above and beyond just regular travel tips. So let's talk about how we can take that servant attitude into New Orleans.
Yeah, for sure. One of the things that we love is that when we go to a city, we know that we can love those people in the name of Jesus and share the good news of Jesus with them. And the way that we behave and the way that we interact in public and the way that our teenagers do is always an incredible way to witness to who God is and what He's done for us. And so the end of this resource really is talking about how not only do we just travel safely, but how do we travel in a way that encourages a servant attitude. And so thinking about things like how do we share words of encouragement with workers who are around and who are helping support our event, paying attention to instructions that are given by staff or volunteers, sharing maybe some extra snacks that you have with the hotel staff, or leaving thank you notes for housekeeping, for bus drivers, for venue staff, for volunteers, for the servers that you're going to have, for flight attendants and pilots. We've seen so many cool different ways that people take a little chance to thank people who are outside of our groups, to be able to thank them for the ways that they help get them to the gathering and back. And just keeping ways out for how we can assist each other and how we can care for the people around us in those groups. So maybe to think about, those are some of those like initial ideas, and if you read the resource, there's a bunch of others as well. But if you guys want to drop in the chat, what are some things your group has done to care for the people of the gathering city? And what are some things that you guys have been able to do that are going to be able to do that? Right, I'm looking here at see if we have any more travel tips. Oh yeah, so I see that like maybe giving an adult leaders a little bit of time to rest and recoup. We love that idea. It's one of those travel things is if you can make sure you have at least one well-rested adult at all times,
Yes.
really helps everybody make better decisions, right? If you have, and that means it's not the same adult the whole time.
No.
You don't get one like rotate that business around, but especially that guy who's going to drive that first leg after the worship service on Wednesday needs 8 hours of sleep the night before if you can get it to him, or at least a nap, right?
I love people reaching out to some of the local nonprofits and volunteering. There are a ton of recognized service organizations or RSOs that if you're driving might be good stopping points along the way. If you want to do some volunteer, you might want to check that out on the LCMS website.
Right. Fantastic. We'll keep dropping those in the comments. We are, let's see. We have some other stuff to cover.
Yeah. So we are gearing up for a busy year leading up to the gathering, and we know there are a lot of moving parts and spreadsheets and fundraising and other planning that you're doing to help prepare your group for a successful gathering experience. In the gathering office, we want to do our best to make sure you feel as prepared and not overwhelmed as possible.
I mean, a little overwhelmed. No, you're slightly whelmed.
A healthy
amount of whelmed.
Okay.
And then not the overwhelmed.
So we're going to spend the last couple minutes of the update talking about some of the upcoming things that you need to know or look for from our office in the upcoming months.
All right, one of my favorite things about the gathering, DABS. Application opens here in just how many days? Just like 4 days, man. It's almost time. We're going to open that up. Those are young adults aged 19 to 25 at the time of the gathering. Our goal, or the team's goal, Jim's amazing team that helps put together our young adult volunteers, they are looking for 1,000 applications. It's an ambitious goal, but I think we can make it. So this is the QR code. We want you to encourage you to think about having a YAB. If you have young people in your congregation who are that age, who are interested, who maybe have attended a previous gathering, who loved it and who you want to support in doing that, we would really appreciate it. I know they would too,
Yes.
right? Being able to be involved in some of your fundraising or maybe ways that you as a church can encourage your young adults to volunteer. We could not do the gathering without our volunteers, could not. And particularly our YABs are critical to the ongoing ability for us to do the gathering. So we want to encourage those YABs, and they have all the way until December 31st. So some of them are not gonna know what they're doing next summer yet. Hopefully they know by the end of the year. And even if they don't know, go ahead and apply, right? And we can go from there. But we would love to see those applications come in. Oh no, the QR code takes you to the book. Disaster. Well, maybe.
We will change that.
We'll fix it. We'll put something else up there. Look, now that's not a problem.
I know I really loved serving as a YAB, and I was really grateful for my home congregation. They made sure I had no barriers so that I could attend the gathering. So seriously, your encouragement and your help for those young adults is really appreciated by not only us, but by also those young adults. And next on our timeline, something that might be on your brain already, is that every congregation is going to be receiving a gathering registration mailer. It's going to be later this summer, probably late August, early September, right when people are starting to go back to school. Maybe your church is doing your rally day. This is going to go to your congregation. So if you're not the person that checks the mail, make sure that you're talking to that secretary or whoever checks the mail in your congregation. And we'll post about it online so you know what to look for, and you can show them a picture of what you're looking for. The reason this mailer is so important is because it's going to have your congregation ID number on it. And that is what you will need to complete your gathering registration in the fall. So when we do any communication with you, when you email us a question or you call in the office with a question, the first thing we're going to ask you is, what is your congregation ID number? So it's really important that you guys have that either memorized or written down in your notes app or easily accessible when you're communicating with us.
Yeah, and so speaking of registration, right? For those of you that are attending National, you're going to get the first look at our registration material, which will be coming out soon, and to meet our new staff.
Yes.
Which is amazing, and we'll get to meet them on Zoom next month. But beginning in October, you're going to be able to log in and do your online data entry. And the worksheets to collect for youth and adult participant information, as well as special needs information, is all going to be available post-National, but you'll get a first look at it if you are coming to National. And we're going to be talking more about registration in the September gathering update Zoom, so be patient as we put those kind of final details together to make that registration process as smooth as possible for all of our primary adult leaders. So for those adult leaders attending National, you're going to get a chance to do some breakouts, hear more from us. But there's definitely going to be more information coming along this summer.
Yes, there are so many registration resources that are going to be available, like the registration book, Gathering 101. We'll even have some step-by-step videos to help you guys work through the registration program online. And we will also have a specific Gathering Update Zoom centered all around registration. So while we won't spend a lot of time answering those questions this month, we're making plans to equip you well before registration opens this fall. So if you have been following our 18-month planning timeline, you'll notice that we recommended 5 planning meetings for your group. There are also sample agendas that were released with those meetings, and those sample agendas included 5 pre-gathering Bible studies. Our Bible study planning team was just in town last month and already working on those resources for you guys. So these pre-gathering Bible studies are meant to be done with your youth and your adult leaders. I believe the first and the 5th one, those meetings also include the parents. So it's a good way to get the parents involved and get them diving into I think it's the Old Testament we're talking. Yeah. It's going to be really great. So we worked really hard to make this a package deal for your gathering planning to make it as easy as possible for you guys. Our plan is to make those resources available later this fall, right around maybe when registration opens. And these studies are going to help you prepare you and your youth to dig more into Hebrews and our theme. And once those are available, we're obviously going to post about it online. You'll get it in a gathering update email, and you'll hear it from Juliana and I in an update Zoom.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. I'm really excited about these. I think our team worked really hard to put a lot of really great content to lead into the gathering into a very short thing, so it should be really doable for everybody to do as a part of their meetings or in other places where you're going to have your group together. You can also look forward to other adult leader resources that are going to be updated regularly in the upcoming months. We're going to have all kinds of things. So we're going to be doing, and the next piece that should come out will be about helping your youth process the gathering. So what are some ways as adult leaders you can prepare to help your young people think through all of the information that's coming at them, the sessions they're going to go to, the information, God's word that they're going to hear in Bible study, the things that they're going to experience when they're talking to our different RSOs or their service learning, all of those different pieces. So how do you help them process through those things? And then if there's something that happens at the gathering where you have a young person who maybe is struggling, or maybe you do have a crisis, what are the ways that we can help you to manage that and to use that as a way to help that young person to grow in Christ, and for you to support them as a supportive adult. So we're looking forward to some of that coming up here pretty soon.
And if you're going to national, just a reminder, if you're looking for some more of those New Orleans resources, or maybe a place to eat while you're in New Orleans, the city has also created a microsite for us. So feel free to check that out and see where you guys can go, or if you're interested in swamp tours or anything like that. It's got a lot of great resources on it. And then, before we know it, the calendar is going to flip to 2025. And we'll be looking.
Yay!
Yes. Well, there's a lot of things to look forward to 2025, not just the gathering. Early in the year, our Team Flex applications are going to open for those volunteers, for adults who are looking for a more flexible volunteer schedule. So these volunteers are able to serve for 4 hours for just one day of the gathering, or you could serve 8 hours all days of the gathering. And especially if you have any connections in the New Orleans area or in Louisiana, it's a great opportunity for those local people to get involved and serve the gathering.
Yeah, there's going to be also ways for you to have young people serve on both our wind symphony and our choir. It's a part of our worship service that happens on Wednesday. So that will also be happening as we turn our calendars to 2025, as well as mini Bible studies and MCs and all sorts of other phenomenal people that are going to help make the gathering great.
Yes, so we know you're excited about all those, and we just wanted to make sure we know we're going to tell you guys.
We will tell you as soon as we can. Right now, no, we can't give out secrets too early, but we will as soon as we can.
Yes. So as we get to the end of our time, I feel like it flew by this month.
It really did.
We want to give you guys some time to ask some questions on any of the topics that we've covered tonight. So if you have any questions about national or New Orleans travel tips or what's next, go ahead and drop them in the chat for us.
Yeah. I know, did everybody catch all of the good travel notes?
I know I need to go take screenshots of all of that.
I know. Oh, Nicole, I'm going to appreciate this. Nicole mentioned it's like taking your group out to eat ahead of the youth gathering and go over expectations for a restaurant. Like, I am just surprised. So sometimes teens, like with how much families do to go, that maybe they don't necessarily know how to handle a sit-down restaurant tipping, the way that can work.
Janet asks, will you have a map available prior to the event so people can see what options there are and where they may be placed? If you're talking about hotels, we might have a map available of all the gathering hotels that will be available. If you're coming to national, we definitely will have that available that you can see. But we'll try and communicate that as best as possible as we get closer to the gathering.
Yeah, I see a question, groups that were further away in hotel and then sitting way up for the big concert, we're going to be rotated closer. Most of our hotels are pretty, I mean, it's not like there are some that are dramatically further away than others.
No.
I mean, there are some that are going to be closer to the convention center, so some of you are going to have a short walk in the morning and a long walk at night, and some of you that are going to have a long walk in the morning and a short walk at night. But everything is gonna be pretty walkable. But if you're talking about assigned seating, yes, just like last time, we're gonna do that assigned seating, and that's gonna rotate spots. So you're gonna have a great seat one night, you're gonna have a not so great seat one night, you're gonna have a meh seat one night. And that's pretty much how we try to make that happen. Okay, can we still register for national? Unfortunately, registration for national is closed at this point. So yeah, we apologize. We filled up a lot faster than we thought it was going to.
We are at our time, so
we are.
If some of you guys want to stick on, we will continue to read the chat after a very short break. We'll answer some of those questions, or if you have more questions, feel free to leave them in the chat and we can answer them during office hours. I think I put the information, put the information.
If you guys want to keep dropping questions in the chat, we will start with those.
Yeah, absolutely.
As soon as we get back, we're gonna need just like 2 minutes.
Yes.
to drink some water. And we will be right back with you guys.
And we did put that information for next month's gathering update Zoom in August, where we'll be talking about special needs support at the gathering. So feel free to scan that QR code or click the link in the chat. We'll also send that in a gathering update email. That's all we have time for tonight for our information dump, but we continue to pray for you guys and your youth and adults in your congregation as you prepare to attend Endure in 2025. If you have questions, feel free to stick around. We'll answer some of those chat questions that we didn't have time for yet. We'll be in office hours, but we're going to take about a 5-minute break before we get back, and we will see you guys next month.